And towards this end you must put in all your endeavors. Now, when something happens despite everything, despite the best atmosphere, things do happen. Things of friction born out of misbehavior or misconduct by anybody, or a wrong bent of mind, for example. What should one do? That is the third point which I want to make clear. If you disagree with any officer in the community, then it is your first right, not only right, it is your duty to report this matter to the center and report it through that particular officer concerned. Now, if you fear that he will not forward that report to the center in due time, what you can do is send a copy direct to the center. Now here I must tell you that as far as the relationship between every Ahmadi and Khalifatul Masih is concerned, anybody can write any number of letters to Khalifatul Masih directly. There is no procedure involved at all in any way. But when you speak of somebody else in censuring terms, then according to the teachings of Islam, it is obligatory upon you to let him know. Otherwise it would be rebirth. It would be just painting him black one-sidedly without him knowing it. So this is why this procedure is involved. Otherwise, nobody stands between Khalifatul Masih and Ahmadiyya. They are one and the same thing. It's impossible for anybody to interfere and stand in the way. So it also reminds me that if the officials of the Jamaat are misbehaving in any way to others, they actually stand in the way of Khalifatul Masih and the Jamaat. Because sometimes some people, when they are angry with their local officers, they cannot make fine distinctions between him and the authority which they were usurping or misusing. And many of them have no opportunity to reach directly the Khilafat and plead their case as they should. With the result that they think that this is the representation of Jamaat, and ultimately they fall out with the Khalifa as well. So as I told you, they are standing in the way of Khalifatul Masih and the people, Ahmadiyya people, which they have no right to do. So the answer to this problem, if it occurs, is this, that you write direct to Khalifatul Masih or to the office concerned. For example, if it's a financial matter, you could write to the Wakilul Mal. If it is a matter concerning Tabshir, you could write to Wakilul Tabshir. But if someone is not satisfied at that, he could directly write to me in this capacity of Khalifatul Masih and send a copy to the Amir if they are very hasty. This is the minimum they are expected to do. But otherwise the normal course is to direct their application and complaint through the channel of Amir or the officer concerned, whoever he be, and send a copy direct. That would be better. So no problem is left at all. But one thing I must remind you, the Court of Appeal is in the higher direction, even in the worldly affairs, not in the lower direction. Those Ahmadis who make the mistake of appealing to the masses for the wrongs done to them have always been annihilated by Allah. They have been destroyed. Nothing is left of them. Because instead of going to Allah, they went to the masses. While no religion springs from the masses, it comes down from Allah. So instead of sending your appeal to the right direction, if you go to the wrong direction, and by doing so also damage the system and the fabric of the community by making one-sided propaganda of which the other party has no opportunity to defend. So the party even sometimes does not know what is happening and what is being talked about against him. So one-sided propaganda number one, is forbidden in Islam positively in the Holy Quran. Whether it be against an Amir or an office bearer or an ordinary Ahmadi, it is very strictly forbidden. But if it is directed against the representatives of the organization, then it's doubly evil, because it hurts the devotion of Ahmadis. It injures their devotion, and they become less active Ahmadis under the influence of such propaganda. So what are they trying to achieve? What do they want to hurt? Hurt the cause of Ahmadiyya? Take their revenge, even if they are rightful, to take revenge, their personal revenge from Ahmadiyya and the spirit of Ahmadiyya? This will not do. It has never been successful in the history of Ahmadiyya. Such people have always been chucked out by Allah, without regard to whether in the initial place they were right or wrong. The method they adopted was positively wrong and injurious, and they are punished for this method. But if you appeal to the higher authorities, and the highest authority is Allah, why not help him? If he is a live Allah, if he is a real being, then he is the last and final authority and the supreme authority. If he is not a real being, if he is just imaginary and a mythical person, then just leave this organization. Why to get stuck to such a stupid organization which is believing in nothing and laying all store by nothing? So this is a simple answer to this question. Instead of censuring such community and injuring those who believe, we should simply say Assalamu alaikum and leave them alone. But if the fundamental concept of every religion is Allah and His existence and His live interest in the affairs of men, then you must make the final appeal to Allah. If even Khalifa doesn't listen to your way of thinking or your complaints and doesn't agree, and you still insist that he is taking sides with the administration unduly, Allah's court is the final appeal. And what is the Khalifa? Nothing compared to Allah. Not even a speck on earth. He can be annihilated by one word of Allah if he so chooses. So, when you have access to the highest and the most powerful court, to abandon that and to go down to the masses and start talking among them, if it is not idolatry, pure and simple, what else it is? This is idolatry. This is a proof that you do not believe in the existence of Allah. You are only following some form and nothing else. So be mindful of this behavior. If you behave correctly in this sense, Allah will show mercy upon you. You will create the most ideal society which will be flourishing and which would be expanding, which will be gaining power in every direction. And nobody would be able to suppress such a society.